Hello everybody, welcome to another review. Today I'm going to be reviewing the brand new album by Kasabian, Happenings. There hasn't been much for me to do a separate video on because some of the stuff I do want to talk about just isn't really coming. I think it's next week, but I'm going to be busy, so there's just a lot of delays, a lot going on, a lot of personal stuff that I just haven't really been able to get as many reviews out, and I've only been kind of focusing on an album once a week and a top 5 tracks of the week if I can get one out. Then other than that, it just hasn't really been much else. I am trying to think of what else is an easy way of doing it, but there are some things I want to say with each album that I talk about, but I've had to just put a bunch on the albums I missed list and also leave them to the end of the month. It just annoys me because it just means I have to listen to a lot of albums back to back when I'm free, and that does sometimes hinder the experience. But again, I don't really know what else I can do. Work for half the week, and then you got your time off. There's a lot going on. It's a bit of a mess. But let's get into the review because I'm pretty sure you're not here to listen to me explain about that. Honestly, Kasabian has just been a band on a decline for me. I've not enjoyed modern Kasabian. I did sort of enjoy the Alchemist Euphoria a little bit, as I do appreciate the new lead singer's step into the band. I know the old lead singer was kind of kicked out because of allegations of him abusing his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, I'm not quite sure, but he's clear out the way and it's got a new lead singer. And while I thought the Alchemist Euphoria had some good ideas, the techno aspect was interesting. Happenings is just so cliche and bland that there's not really much evolution here, or at least there's not really much showing the progression of Kasabian's music from their very first record to where they are now. I find this to be very weak in comparison to stuff like Velociraptor, or Alchemist Euphoria is a good one for that matter, which I still prefer a lot more to this. Even the self-titled, which definitely put the band where they started, and it's a fun self-titled album. I don't think you can ever hit the highs they have here again with what this record's going for. No, it's not all bad. I think How Far We Go's got some interesting drums, but a lot of it just feels very, I don't know, kind of It feels definitely they just have the most bare bone first thought to put out as a, hey, this sounds catchy, and that's it. It feels like there's not really much reconsideration on any of these tracks. I think tracks like Cool, which I remember this being the lead single, was dreadful in my opinion. I found the song to be obnoxious, in your face, with just how bland it's trying to purposely be this radio cash cool of a track, and it's just so barren. So even tracks like Darkest Lullaby, the opening just doesn't reel me in the slightest. It feels like Happenings is just so barren from the Kasabian sound that I did enjoy back then, but here we just got a big departure from it into one of the most weakest releases in their entire discography. I don't think there's a single track that stood out to me as this is good, because a lot of it is just fine at best. It's a very big bag of confusion, and a lot of it really stood out to me as this interesting project. Matter of fact, the album's below 30 minutes because most of the tracks are quite short. I mean, that's kind of good, but there's not really much to the songs as it is, so having them short, it just goes from one short song to another short song. But if this is the sound that a longer song would go for, then I think I'd rather stick to the formula of something shorter. This is not fun in the slightest. I tried all the singles when that came out. Coming Back to Me Good also was just pretty barren. Algorithms was just a snore fest, and I haven't really found anything that I'd want to go back into on this one. Interesting track names like Italian Horror could have been interesting, but probably say it's one of the weakest tracks on the record, one of the worst Kasabian songs. I think what that one's going for is a lot weaker than some of the strongest on this, but I don't even know why I have to compare that, because there's nothing that's even strong on this record. I think like what I prefer about the Alchemist Euphoria with the techno aspect is that they really set up the new lead singer with some new ideas to go for. Tracks like Chemicals was quite catchy. It definitely had a Kasabian, more experimental Kasabian sound, but I appreciated it, and I even like tracks like The Wall and Alligator on that one as well. But here it's I don't really know what to feel. I think Happenings was just an album that just didn't really need to happen. Literally, it is just not a good album in my opinion. I'm going to have to give this one a 1.5 out of 5. I couldn't dig it, I couldn't get into it, and I think it generally is the worst thing Kasabian's put out. I hope you enjoyed, thanks so much for watching, and see you next video, boo.